Going to be a quick turnaround before we go green. And as the drivers grid up, let's take a look at our starting results.
Should be now.
Here tonight.
All right, I'm going to refresh.
Taking the pole award.
Yep, I got you now.
Of Zach Hall for himself, driving another pole for his career in the Full Send Racing Series. Chris Stitz, a quick time, best in his practice, and going to be coming up a position shy at the top of the board. Going to be second for the 17. Christopher Norris.
I played around with this track a little bit a long time ago, so I don't really know it.
We'll see on the 9th.
And qualified 8th.
Start one of the top 3 favorite drivers to watch out for this evening with Dalton Alexander 6th, 7th goes to Jay Beckard, Brian McCann 8th.
I don't think I've ever run a race here.
The 10th place.
Sam Siegel will start in 11th with Tyler Thomas in 12th.
Thanks, mate.
John Dart will
I passed one AI car, so
start in 14th. Tony Brent will start in 15th with Jacob Grant.
Like everyone next up, Zach.
I got experience.
17th with Nick Holland in 18th.
Thanks, sir.
David
Good luck.
McConnell
Good luck to
19th
yourself
and
and
Alex
you're looking
in
for
20th.
Additional sets of time for this race.
7 Hunter.
Where's my starter button?
Caleb Smith, who looked quick during practice,
All
will
right.
be starting back in 22nd position. Philip Chavez, now able to get a time in during qualifying, starting in 23rd.
Hopefully I don't make as many mistakes as I did last night.
And because everyone else that didn't even try, his iRating pushes the 44 up to 24th. 25th goes to Will Bustler. 26th position goes to William Duff. Then 27th is Joshua Altis. Christopher Melton. 28th, Peter Dillon. Yet to still register back in. I don't know if the 27th is going to make the race. He'll be back 29th.
Get ready.
Registered. He'll be starting in pit road. And Ryan Lynch finishing down our 30 drivers here this evening. As we're setting up, getting prepared, it's going to be a mad dash this first
All right,
couple of
man.
laps.
Eight
And these
cars
first
in.
couple of corners going to be heavily dangerous to watch out for. Man, here we go. Pace car into pit road. Zach
Green,
Hall,
green, green.
Chris Stitz take control out of the last chicane into the restart zone.
Clear inside.
Get racing here tonight as the green.
Look, one inside. One inside.
Studios Grand
Got
Prix
one on your right.
157. Here we go,
3 wide,
Trevor.
you're on the
It's
left.
time.
3 wide, you're up way to
Clear on
left.
your right.
Road
Two
course
wide.
You got the shot off.
Clear on the right.
Clear all the way around.
And they all get through turn 1 cleanly. Zach's a little bit wide. Here comes Norris to the inside. Doesn't have the momentum off. Zach gets through. Looks like everybody also threw behind them. Sam, and we've got through turn 1 cleanly.
Turn 1 might have been the easy part. This is the hardest part of the track. Going up Eau Rouge into Radion. One of the fastest uphill climbs you're going to be ever taking in these stock cars. As they climb the hill, everyone looks neat and tidy. Now one of the fastest straightaways after making the climb. As they go down the Kemmel stretch, getting ready for the most technical aspect in the field. Heavy blocks all around in the middle portion, but it's all Zach Hall as they make the hard-braking zone into turn 5 and 6.
Yeah, Zach loses them in 5 and 6. Norris trying to hold on to that second position over Chris Stitz. Brian Wilson there. Cameron starting in 24, all there. The top, the second, all the way back through about that of 6th place. All nose to tail with one another. A little bit of a dive there from the 9 of Wilson. Looking to the inside of Chris Stitz. Thinks better of it. Backs out in the field, just snaking through slowly or one at a time. Sam, really clean start to this race.
Downhill climb, and this is one more downhill climbs after this group where Zach hitting the double left-hander, double apex. The drivers have to climb through, and drivers, are they going to hold steady in the throttle, or are they just going to let their car coast on this double apex? And these shots showing the drivers all trying to hit the same points on the track, snaking their way through the course. They make it through turns 10, 11, and here's another last little technical aspect of this course where it's the sand traps. Dangerous spots if you find yourself going a little bit too wide.
Yeah, really dangerous if you find the tire into the grass trying to get into this braking zone, can drag you right off the track into those sand traps. And those are going to slow you down a lot. You're just going to be right in the tire barriers if you get a tire off. It looks like everybody's so far navigating cleanly through there as they head on to what is essentially the backstretch. A little bit of a fast kink in it, though, which can be tricky for these drivers to navigate before they get to the final chicane.
As you're going to be seeing the drivers blasting their way through that little kink, and drivers going to be using a lot of that aspect of going wide, trying to use every little bit of this track. Drivers have no instant limits.
As you get more comfortable with that braking zone, that might be a good opportunity for a pass.
This course that can
Oh, yeah.
trouble as John Dart going extremely wide. There, other drivers smoking up in front as the 5 went too wide, couldn't slow down in time, and see a little bit of the direction around that little patch I was talking about. Expecting to see a lot of drivers
Almost hit that wall.
down to 16th position that just can't get away from one another as Zach Hall leads lap number 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is the area that we saw a lot of people close in practice times. Nick Holland spins out.
There you go.
One all by himself, trying to get on power 2, so he spins the 13.
Way to flatten that out.
Wait now for everybody to go by before he gets back around and rejoins the race. A simple little mistake like that. And then for John Dart in the 5, Sam, I think still trying to serve a slowdown penalty for cutting that final chicane. Finally back up to speed as he goes up a Rouge.
Finally done, but another driver with a warning that he's going to slow down. Good Grant looks like on the top of Radeon had a penalty for himself. Also, other drivers trouble with Radeon. If you go too wide on that exit to the top of the hill when you make that climb, you will get a slowdown penalty, and drivers have to let off. You're going to lose massive time as our Daytona winner trying to keep back the 5 of John Dart, battling the drivers around the middle of the pack. And for this 18th position, Tony Grant, what a charge for himself trying to hold off John Darden. It's well in front of them, seeing Caleb Smith and Justin Burton trying to move forward. Burton, one of the biggest movers right now. Caleb Smith up 5 positions this current stint.
And just slowly working his way forward. And I think for a lot of these guys that didn't put in qualifying times, it's going to be, can we survive, get by these guys that make mistakes, go off track, or have these slowdowns and not make as many mistakes as they do. Smith goes to the inside of a 5 there of Jonathan Burt, who's a little bit loose with that double left hand.
Very concerned for Kurt as he's trying to keep that 6 machine underneath that goes wide once again. And it's so easy with these weaving corners that you can just one bad entry cost you multiple corners and the exit speed. And as you can see here, multiple positions under fire as Alex Jones tries to follow suit. Will Bustler as well trying to get by this 6 machine, and Jonathan Burt and other drivers. And then we're talking about this. Drivers that are known at our oval courses to be in survival mode, bank on yellow flags and big wrecks to try to gain some massive positions later on in a race. We're not expecting a full course yellow. There's still going to be a stage break here tonight, but the yellow will not be thrown for it at the end of lap 8. Top 10 drivers get bonus points. And that factor of no full course yellow puts a lot of pressure on these drivers that this far back that we were just looking at, those drivers are already 20 seconds off of our leader of Zach Hall, as you see Zach and Christopher Norris just pulling away from the rest of the field.
And not surprised to see Zach pulling away. And for that fact that Christopher Norris as well, he's turned into a really good road course racer over the last couple of seasons. So he's put in a great effort here as they pulled away from Chris Stitz. But touching on what you were talking about, these guys at the back of the field, it's all about survival, trying to get the best results.
To your right,
minimizing these mistakes,
not letting you have it. He's still there.
They already have from the leader.
Clear.
And I'm looking at these drivers. Looks to be that El Rouge up to Radeon, that corners going up the hill after our first corner, it is hurting drivers badly, as Chris Stitz, who's running in third with a pretty good gap between himself and Cameron Sarton, massive.
Definitely brought some company back to you.
He's now in the hunt and fight to just survive inside of the top 5.
Almost had to give up that spot to Cameron Sarton and Brian Wilson. It almost fell into the clutches of Dalton Alexander, Brandon Colley, and Brian McCann, who are all kind of here nose to tail with one another. And another little penalty like that, I mean, that could almost take Chris Stitz out of the top 10, Sam, if he has another big slowdown like that.
The main reason it's hurting drivers is because you go up that corner, drivers seem to be cutting the course on turn 4. Instead of going out wide, they're cutting into the track, which is giving them a massive slowdown penalty and also trying to recover. And in this group right now, there's a couple of drivers that I'm concerned about. Behind this grouping is that Brandon Colley. It's Ken Campbell, the 15, dealing with some massive front-end damage from the 15 machine. As looked like in those first couple of laps, first corner of the first lap, drivers were already running into one another.
Yeah, Campbell's got some front-end damage, and I would take a bet, Sam, that the rear-end damage on the 10 of Jay Becker behind him, those two might line up with one another in contact the first corner and other parts during that first lap when everybody was stacked up on top of one another. And here at road courses typically don't talk about damage, but how fast Spot is, especially down the Camel Straight and down this back section of the racetrack, that front end damage can really hurt that 15 car overall.
It really could. The back stretch, the front stretch, many of spots don't want to be grabbing massive issues. That's through the last chicane. This grouping of drivers third all the way back to around kind of a top of another team. That's third back of 11 that are all right on top of one another. is a fun group to watch, as this was kind of the interesting thing when we were looking at the position. We knew Zach Hall was extremely fast and kind of was looking untouchable throughout practice, throughout the week.
Got one on your right.
Into this section, it's a question of wherever driver's going to line up second, third on back. Christopher North looks to be solidifying for second place.
Still there.
Here comes our 3-time winner of the season.
Still there.
Ryan McCann.
Door.
Pressure
Still there.
on the 99
All
of
clear,
Brandon
all
Collins.
clear.
Yeah, had a really good run up through a Rouge over the top already on here.
I have a feeling we're going to be doing that for quite a few laps.
Yeah. He's not going to let you have it by any means.
I'm going to be able to stick it around to get to the inside of Brandon Collins. So we're going to have to fall back, try to reset up this 99 machine to get a pass. But
It's a shame, too, because I think once you get around him, you're going to be able to contend with the guys that are in front of him.
there from McCann as he heads down here into the really tight 7 and 8. It takes a hard right turn and it's going to set you up for a quick left.
Leader set the fastest lap. Last lap, 227.69.
And Brian McCann, huge thing.
I ain't got nothing for that.
And you see that hands working here tonight. Also for Brian McCann, has a YouTube channel where he shows off his karting abilities, a lot of road course karting driving for this 8 machine, and trying to bring in a little bit of that experience into the night.
There you go.
It's a very different discipline of karting to stock car racing.
Play with his mirror. He knows you're there.
He's having some fun out on the road course, trying to find that little bit of inkling of speed to best the drivers around you.
Yeah, karting would be a lot of fun. I mean, you think about a little light, grippy go-karts that you can slide around the corners, but you're translating that into big, heavy stock cars with a lot of horsepower. Still slide around the corners, but I think a little bit more of a handful than those go-karts that he's probably used to driving. And doing a great job here early on lap 4, coming to lap 5, still trying to chase down Brandon Colley. And to tell you what, these two have been really close to each other throughout the course of this lap. One little mistake from Brandon Colley could see the state car get by.
That's the pressure all these drivers are dealing with. One mistake. Now, since we're 4 laps into a run, seeing a lot more spacing going on between the drivers in the field. Now it's turning into, instead of pack racing on top of one another, it's kind of pod racing of having drivers got a pack of 4 here, grouping of 2, drivers by themselves scattered around. And if you make one mistake, you might only lose now instead of 5 to 6 positions, just 1 or 2, unless you're in this group that we're watching up front. Jay Beckert, like we noted on, dealing with that back rear end right damage. But the 10, this is one of his better stunts.
You are faster than him through this part every single lap.
The ovals, road course racing is where the confidence has been, but right now feeling the pressure as
And this lap is no exception. Look at that.
that Texas Speed Machine setting up as we go down El Rouge up to Radeon. This uphill climb has been difficult for the drivers in the first couple of laps, with the 10 clean run as they hit the Camel stretch.
Got a really clean run up through that little complex there. Had a bit of a scare out at turn number 1. Got a little loose there, but was able to pull away from the 11 and Tyler Thomas down the Camel straight, closed it in on Ken Campbell. And I'll tell you what, Becker's been stuck behind Campbell for the last couple of laps. I think it feels like he's a little bit faster. Just hasn't quite found an opening in all this fighting. It's actually allowed the 7
One's going off.
on this
There you go.
breeze.
Ooh, good try. Good try.
7 started second.
That's one though.
With a really
Race of attrition. Keep it going.
Mover of the race so far goes to Cedric Hunter. Driver, though, having issues and into the gravel pit. It's going to be Chris Stitz, who has just been having a meltdown.
Minimize the mistakes.
Once again, had issues on that Radeon corner, cutting it, had to lose positions. Brandon Colley, and then goes off into the gravel pit there. Tough run right now for Chris Stitz. Now it's outside the top 10, and no bonus points. 17.
Yeah, I mean, was running in 5th, and now all the way out. He's going to put him behind Cedric Hunter, so it's going to put him down there in 12th position. Becker with a moment. Tyler Thomas with a little bit of contact in the back of Ken Campbell there. Cedric Hunter nowhere to go. He has to back out of it. But it looks like Becker, I think, actually went around it outside of Ken Campbell through the double left-handers. Thomas gets to the inside, a little bit of contact made, but everybody keeps it straight.
You closed up on him quite a bit.
I mean, Campbell had to wheel that thing to keep that car straight, and this vehicle has not been the kindest to people to try to save. Campbell able to save the vehicle, didn't lose as much momentum as he could have.
Got one on your right.
The fight. This is group of 4, about to be 5 once Chris Stitz can catch back up. Seeing these drivers currently from their fastest lap to now, they've only
He's loose. He's locking him up.
Far about to conclude their 5th lap. And drivers are already feeling about a 1.5 second fall off.
You're going to have a good chance here coming up the hill if he's handling like that off the turns.
Front end damage. That could be really detrimental to that engine for the 15. but we're now in 3 laps to go before this stage is done. Again, no full course yellow will be thrown for the stage break. The top 10 drivers are hunting for bonus points. Ken Campbell is in a good spot to get those bonus points as the 10 of Jay Becker having issues. We look back at Travis.
Look at this momentum.
His own little
Ride it out.
Car on your right.
Yeah, Becker wearing deep into
Still there.
turn number 1, but here's Travis Dart trying to hold on.
Come on.
Moving ahead, it's the 10 of Jay
All clear,
Becker.
all clear.
Tyler Thomas.
Great job. Good pass, Brian.
Outside wall as they try to go side by side up Mount Rouge, and it went terribly.
Way to hit your marks.
Back at it.
Now pull away.
There's a little bit of contact going into the entrance of Eau Rouge, sends the 10 to the,
He's been slowing you down.
the racetrack hard into the tire barriers, and what was looking like a great race for Jay Becker and possible stage points, and take him out here tonight as he continues to fall through the field with that heavy nose day.
Handle that turn just like the carousel at the Glen.
Side by side, setting it up. Tyler Thomas not giving space, just sends it right down, sending the 10. And that's been the issue, is whenever we see Jay Becker having a good race, he gets caught up in an incident, and it strikes even here at Spa as the 10 trying to just limp his way forward back to 16th position. And now with the damage, it's not required damage, but that is terrible damage to have at such a aerodynamic dependent track like Spa is.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt him all night long. I mean, we thought Ken Campbell was struggling a little bit with the front end damage that he has from early on. For Jay Becker, I mean, he's got no hood. I don't know if he's got any engine damage. I would assume at how hard that car hit, he's probably down a little bit of horsepower in that machine. We'll have to wait and see, but definitely gonna be a struggle for him for the rest of the night.
Middle of the course, where these trucks are at right now, is probably the place that you can salvage speed because it's not that 100% throttle that you're working with. The Becker's got to be careful and banking on some type of issues driving ahead that similar incidences. It's going to hurt them. See Will Bustler back in 18th place, all on his own. For some drivers, that's a comfortable feeling to have. You're on your own. Don't have to worry about the
There you go.
.4,
All right, so they just went down pit road. That's Dalton Alexander.
And if someone else
This is 24 to go.
having go into pit road and have their race done.
job,
Speaking
man.
of going
You're
into pit
pit.
road, Dalton Alexander, pit road stop as the dinging of pit road is going to be a constant, I think, here tonight once we hear pit stops of drivers entering.
So he's pitting before the end of the stage.
This is an extremely early pit stop, not even thinking about stage points as that Dalton Alexander is a fill-in driver. He's thinking about the win and thinking about strategy already.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say it's very interesting.
You gain a lot coming up that hill on people in front of you.
Part-time driver, so why not come down and offset your strategy, go for an off-ball strategy and see what happens. We were talking about it. This could potentially be a 2-stop race for these guys, even though it's a short race, only 30 laps. We're going 4.5 miles, and with the fuel mileage that these cars get and the tire wear, a 2-stop might be the quickest way around here. So the undercut for Dalton Alexander, we'll have to see how it turns out.
As the other drivers that have entered pit road, going to be Caleb Smith and Nick Holland. As take a look at third place,
Read that corner just like the last turn at Sonoma.
The Full Send Racing Series was one of the
Before you
favorites
like
whenever
the
we went to a road
compound,
course
we got
until
these
Cole
things
Sacchetti
even.
emerged as one of the heavy favorites. Zach Hall taking a couple of wins under his belt the last couple of seasons. And Cameron, he was one of the top 3 drivers we knew to watch out for. Currently third, kind of having a quiet night, but a good night to have. Quiet, always a good feeling for yourself. Another driver having issues going up through Radion is going to be the 4 of Dave McConnell as well as Christopher Melton. They just had major collisions. And for David McConnell, his race is done for the 4.
And not sure what happened to McConnell, but I mean, bad enough that he had left the didn't even get back to pit road. Sam, I think, just left the session. Car might have been parked in a unfortunate area for himself, but the night over for the 4 machine of David McConnell is Wilson, and then tried to battle it out. But here's the replay to what happened before.
It's going to be Christopher Melton in the 93. Get top of the hill, gets loose, and also spooks the 4. He overcorrects and right into the right side. Hard collision. Oh, completely takes out the engine. Melton's able to continue forward, but off of that of Volechka having to fade in a quick manner. And the 44 able to not get any more damage. And that was what called the 4 cars race. He is done. Caleb Smith, another driver, pulled into pit road early, following in the tire tracks of other drivers of Dalton Alexander. Well, going to be seeing the fact of the 98 calling it a race as well. We're on the stage break lap. Who is going to get inside of the top 10?
You were 2 seconds faster than the car behind
Dominator
and 1 second faster than the car in front that last lap.
from Cameron Sargent.
You still got the speed in that thing.
Decent lap time
Doing a great job.
to Zach Paul and trying to get some good bonus points. It's going to be the drivers of Chris
Sorry about
Stitz,
that,
Brandon
Will.
Conley, but Tyler Thomas, a surprisingly good night, even though with that contact the 11
You
had
have about
with the
5
10,
laps left.
trying to make sure he does not get caught by Jay Becker is the 11.
Yeah, just after that little bit of contact, just kind of settled into this 8th position right behind Cedric Hunter and in front of Brandon Colley. And Colley, Sam, one of those guys that was up there battling with Brian McCain in the 8, and now all the way down here in 9th position, almost outside the top 10. You see him right there in the back of the shot. In front of the 17 of Chris Stitz, barely getting stage points for Colley, so I'm not sure if he had an issue somewhere. And then how about Chris Stitz? We saw him off in the tire, or off in the gravel at one point, and he's back up in the
Good save.
Going to get some, giving at least one stage.
Yeah, you're at it. And as Ken Campbell, he made passes to get himself in this great position, but now is in a tricky spot. We're going to be finding himself losing some more positions to the 11 if he sees an opening. But this group, I think the big thing is Chris Stitz was hurt with those penalties, with the yielding black flag. It's not a confirmed you're losing time, but you have to give up track position. You have to give up on letting off your throttle, give up time on the overall. And with being in this pack, I think a lot of drivers have been making that similar mistake, and that's what they're staying so grouped up, is that everyone, it seems like every other lap, someone is making that slip up of cutting the course and having to yield time.
That's what it feels like for these guys. You look up, they pulled away from each other. You look back up, half a track later, they're all grouped up on one another, and it's just who's going to make the least amount of mistakes in this group that can finally kind of pull away from one another. Campbell under pressure from the 11 here. Tyler Thomas coming to the stage in. And Thomas pick up that extra spot on the 15 machine to get himself an extra couple of stage points.
Update for some of the drivers that
He definitely knows you're there.
Massive front end damage. Dalton Alexander, who did the undercut, was trying to get a little bit, trickery with being.
I thought he was going to let me have the braking zone, but he didn't.
No.
He was back with slower drivers to 39.
He's fighting hard. You swerve to the left, he goes to the left. You go to the right, he goes right.
All race long. It's not required damage, but it's worse than even Ken Campbell's front end damage. Visibly.
Just take the left. There you go.
The drivers finishing out this lap. Zach
All clear, all
gets
clear.
second.
Nice.
Norris going to get second. Cameron Sargent third. And the rest of the running for the stage break goes to Cameron Sargent. Third. Fourth goes to Brian L. Wilson. Brian McCann. Then we can grab fifth. Sixth goes to Cedric Hunter. And Campbell. Seventh. Eighth, Tyler Thomas. Ninth goes to Brandon Colley. And Chris Stitz.
And you've already got him clear by half second.
Getting that stage bonus points. Well, that's our first 8 laps in the book. It's been a good run so far. Lots of drama already spicing up. And what is the drama going to look like moving forward? We'll find out as we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll give you more of the Gerson Studios Grand Prix 157 here at the Spa. Is the drivers.
There you go. Just like the carousel at the Glen.
Series race
Perfect.
is about to be done and dusted. It's going to be a quick one. We'll be back right after this.
You and Sarton are running about even lap times right now.
Travis, I'm in the pit here.
Your fourth place.
Thank you.
Hancock with him.
I need to pit this lap.
Okay.
Can you check my stuff?
Yep, sure can.
They're five wide behind the pit. Oh my! The five wide is a single.
Let's see.
Bump it.
Full fuel, all 4 tires. You're set.
Sora still with the Shire coming off a four. That's it.
It's
Bottom line, here it comes. Oh no, Carter gets run. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another.
Coming out of the pits will be 20 to go.
Drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes. Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it. But he somehow drove it in the corner to wreck it. Oh, they wrecked. They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes into 28.
It'll be interesting to see where your tires are at when you come out.
Probably like 85.
Think so? Okay.
Maybe low 80s, high 70s. Let's go with that.
Okay, fair enough. 1975, I hear this is a good year.
The leader is pitting now.
All right, there you go. So Hall and Norris are both coming in. And looks like Sarton's going in also. So why not bring all top 4? All right, max speed to the line. And then watch your pit road speed. There you go. Close in whatever you can.
Pit box in 10. 5.
Heading this time.
3, 2, 1. Right here.
Good stuff, Brian. Hell yeah, man.
Lowest one was 81.
Not bad. Not
Highest
bad.
was 92.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Go.
Come on out, clean pit.
Welcome
Max
back,
speed.
ladies and gentlemen.
Watch pit pit speed. There we go. Blah, 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 blah.
Road, as most of the field has made
All right, clean track. Come
Got
on
one
out.
on your left.
up.
Sweet.
10 laps looks
All
to be
clear,
the
all clear.
distance that they're searching for. So look for around that of 10 to 9 laps to go for our next pit stop. Thanks for joining with us on Freaky
I'm
Fast.
gonna eat them alive on these new tires.
Are still having the lead for themselves. Dalton Alexander, who went with the extreme undercut up to 4th place, and oh no!
That's the guy who pitted early, wasn't it?
Off.
Yes, Dalton Alexander. Yeah.
Oh, he parked in front of the field. Oh no! Alex Jones has to be
Yep. He went in on lap 6.
in 22nd now, as Jones had to do a massive backup, and
We meet again.
There you go.
Toby Brett T-boned and losing.
Everybody knows race car drivers don't forget.
Yeah, it looks like got just in too deep into that final chicane, went through the grass, battling with the 45 of Alex Jones, and then those
Got
two
one on
One
your
off
left.
in the sand. Hey, 2
All
off in the
clear,
sand.
all
Why
clear.
not?
chicane there.
There you go.
Both of them had to back up. Get
Automatic P3. Let's go.
those guys after their pit stop.
Time massively lost for themselves as these drivers going up,
All right. 9 seconds up to Chris Norris.
trying to just survive.
I doubt that's happening.
Still dealing with the heat in the tires, and you can just tell the exit of these corners, the fast straightaways, the tires are not feeling comfortable. Other battles that are happening out on track. It's the battling currently for 9th, 10th, and 11th. Ken Campbell, Brandon
I'm
Collins.
good, but I'm not 9 seconds good.
Right now, it's Ken Collie, Trent Pullaway from the 11 Texas Speed driver. Other drivers have been running well up front, has been Brian McCann, who under this pit cycle has been able to move up to 3rd place past Cameron Sardi, who went off into the grass, and Dalton Alexander, who under the undercut is dealing with 4 lap older tires from the rest of the field. Those older tires are hurting right now as the 24 is using every little bit of this fresh rubber to set up paths.
and trying to get by this 39 car. And you can see the front end damage that Dalton's having to deal with. That happened right after his pit stop. I went back and looked at it under commercial break. Got in the back of the one of Will Bustler at one point.
Had a lot more break in it there.
Tires, so
Oof.
where that damage came from, and Sarton just hounding this 39, looking for any way about it, going for a dive here into the final chicane, almost makes it to the quarter panel, but has to back out of it as they go through the left-hander here and going to try to set him up here down to turn number 1, but a great drive off the final corner for that 24 machine.
Dalton Alexander going to be setting up to force the 24 to make the pass on the long way around. On the outside, hard braking zone. They're both fighting for it. Dalton Alexander outbraking the 24, but the X of the corner give the advantage to Cameron Sarton. Just gets the better launch, extra grip out there on the outside, and an assist to 24 to blast his way into 4th place and trying to run down the 8 of Brian McCann. And for these drivers, they've got a lot of work. They want to try to catch up to Zach Hall. 14, almost 15 seconds from 3rd place up to the lead as we've got 19 laps still to go. We've only ran 12 of our 30 here tonight. Stage break is done. Zach Hall won that stage, and right now, Trevor, it's
Sarton's behind you.
everyone in a little bit of survival mode for themselves.
Yeah, I think now stage break is over. First round of pit stops is over. It's settled in.
You and him had very, very close lap times before y'all came in down the pit, so you don't need to just give him the spot or anything like that. You're just as fast as he is.
He's going to get up there and
And I really think if you had gotten by that 15 a whole lot sooner, you'd be a little bit further up in the running order also.
can
So you got this.
kind of ride around, as we saw with drivers earlier on, that were just kind of in no man's land, just continue to ride around it and hope that people fall victim to issues throughout the course of the night and gain a couple more spots.
You're just joining us now. Welcome to Curve Sim Studios. Drop 3, 130. We've already lost one driver this evening, being Caleb Smith in the 98. Ran the first handful of laps that the night for himself. Right on board the 9 machine of Brian L. Wilson. Qualified up in 4th place, has fallen down to 6th, but it's keeping in touch. Dalton Alexander hoping for a mistake, and those older tires really helping out the 9. As you see Dalton Alexander's old tires, it's a 4-lap difference, and let's hop on board with the 9 as we're onto the back stretch. And one of the faster aspects of this corner, this is the section of where drivers from around lap turn 15 up to 18 are just using all the speed that's left in their vehicle.
Wow.
All that speed up, a little bit of a key in the back straightaway, where the drivers are going to try to keep it as fast as they can and watch that runoff. You see them both running wide, using every bit of that as they can. Here's the really good passing zone down here into the final hairpin. 19 and 20, you can see William Duff in the 77. He's got some massive front end damage on his car. He's going to cut through the grass there to try to get to pit road.
There you go.
Has a big move to the inside of the 39 of Dalton.
Even with that,
Made on the exit.
trying to figure out where to go around that lap car.
That's done and able to move now up in 5th place, and now setting up behind these drivers. It's the Hello Kitty machine of Cedric Hunter, who's trying to recover to continue moving forward. And one of the top drivers that was
Your gap over Sarton's climbing 2+.
21st position up to 7. Biggest mover up 14 spots. Not a bad day for starting in the back half of the field and having to march his way forward, avoid some massive wrecks around. 7 Machine is in a comfortable position where he might be able to gain a couple of more positions before this race is done.
And very low could get up there and gain that spot on Dalton Alexander. Brian Wilson, he's got the speed. I mean, you don't. Yes, you get some spots by guys having issues, but I mean, we've seen Cedric driving up their passing cars. Was back there with Tyler Thomas, Brandon Colley, Ken Campbell, and Chris Ditz, and all those guys battling with them right before the stage break. And then after this round of pit stops, been able to really drive away from them and close in on these guys in front of him, like Dalton Alexander and Brian Wilson.
Critical running for themselves. Other drivers have been having some pretty incredible runs so far tonight. Look back, it's the 17th runner, Will Bustler, talked about how his rear end got taken off by Dalton Alexander, but hey, the 1 machine is just having his own quiet night. Again, qualified in 25th position, part of the grouping of drivers that did not qualify. It is up 8 spots in 17th position. And
You in 2nd place, Chris Norris, are running even lap times.
luckily for Will Bustler, they're running about a half second faster than Bert, Pelechka, and Brent.
Yeah, just kind of like he was that driver that
Still 2+ over Sarton. 4+ back to P5, Brian Wilson.
on top of one another throughout the course of the night. We saw a Burt up there earlier on had his issues early on in this race where he kind of fell back a little bit. Belechka here just having a nice, another little quiet run for himself, up 5 spots from where he qualified, trying to hold on to this machine as he's under pressure from the 28 of Tony Brent.
Tony Brent qualified up 15th position. There's some decent speed under this 28 machine, but it was the mistake that caught up between the 28 and the 45 of Alex Jones that made him lose a lot of ground, and now trying to recover, the fight to get back for a top 15 finish. Fall back to Joshua Altus. Altus has been one of the drivers that have been on fire, but it's been the timing of, I would say, pit stops, and as well cautions that's allowed this 94 to really recover after 4 qualifying runs, and once again not even getting a qualifying time in with Joshua Altus, and he's just settling back and aiming for a top 25 finish is this 94.
Yeah, just kind of not known to be a road course racer. I know we know he has speed pretty much everywhere else we go, but here at the road course, especially here around Spa, one of the tracks that we don't go to in the NASCAR series, and probably a track a lot of these guys don't have a lot of time on. Just out here trying to run the best that he can, up 6 spots at least from where he qualified, so having a good run for himself is Nick Holland down here in 22nd position. Had a spin early on, but has been able to recover back up here in the 22nd.
Yeah, he's had a couple of other mistakes also bubble up for this 13 that forced him to grab even more front-end damage, but currently based on the lap times could be competing for the drivers around 18th, 19th position, and those drivers start to have bigger mistakes blossom up. And as the run continues on, their first pit stops of the race for Belechka, one of those is finally hitting pit road. Philip Chavez, who saw during qualifying, was hoping to get time in and was not able to, as right now the 101 survival mode has dealing with some rear end damage, but also having a great battle right now with Alex Jones behind for 20 in that 24th position. Trying to survive is the ultimate key for these drivers. As we go back up front, Cameron Sarton was looking like the most confident driver to grab 3rd. Well, he's fallen back to 4th, and as a pretty decent gap between 3rd and 4th, where it's around 2 seconds, less than 2 seconds, is back from 4th to 5th as Brian L. Wilson is chipping away on trying to take this 4th place position.
Yeah, looking at the lap time, Doug Wilson about five or half a second quicker than that of Cameron Sarton. That last time by, that 9 machine really starting to close in on the 2-time champ here on the back half of the racetrack right now. See if he can get up there and challenge for 4th as Cameron's lost a little bit of time to Brian McCann, and Wilson having a really strong showing for himself here just inside the running here in 5th.
Certainly has. It's the 9 machine of Brian L. Wilson.
There you go. Way to baby that throttle.
Ran all 7 races, 1 top 5 that he grabbed back at the start of the season at Daytona, had 2 other top 10 finishes at Michigan, Chicagoland. It's a road course race. Talked to Brian L. Wilson last season, rookie season, at the start of the Clash when they were running at the LA Coliseum. Said he was a lot more comfortable at the road courses. He was open to getting a lot more, knowledge at the oval side of things. And it's been a beautiful growth watching the 9 get faster each and every week, trying to get a lot more confident the 1.5 mile more bigger tracks, trying to get quicker at the short tracks and a lot more consistent at avoiding the incidences. But tonight, showing the strength on why Wilson is a lot more confident in a road vehicle. And 6th place, Nolan Alexander, fill-in driver, dealing with damage, but still in the top 10. Got to give kudos for the undercut. It looks like it hasn't really given a huge net gain. It's kind of still stayed with kind of equal where he was going to be at if he just stayed out. As he's trying to figure out how to defend charging driver the 7 of Cedric Hunter.
And trying to hold off Cedric Hunter. And
I assume you've been coming down pit road with 10 to go?
From Dalton to Cedric Hunter.
Yep. Okay.
7/10 of a second, but you look at the difference in tires, about 3 laps. Could essentially just kind of 4 laps by the time they enter and exit pit road.
All 4 tires.
And Alexander doing everything he can to hold off the 7 machine, but Cedric Hunter's now caught up to him, and somehow it's a matter of time before the 7 can get by him.
Figure out where he has set up the pass and just stay in the line. So they're setting up, going downhill into the double left-hander, trying to hit those apexes, and it's kind of amazing to see. The field, yes, the lap times are pretty different when you look at Zach Hall all the way down to let's say 28th position on Dave McConnell, who's dealing with the heavy damage. But it's still great. It's crazy to see these drivers all
About 11 to go. Can I make it on fuel? 11.
Right now you have 7. You got 7.5 in the.
That seems to be the
Yeah,
big difference.
you can do that.
How you can be one of the fastest drivers compared to those that are deeper in the field.
Yeah, I think it comes down to how aggressive are you going to be with those track limits that we've seen kind of bite people throughout the course of the night with those slowdowns. If you can time it right and hit the right parts of the track, you can gain a little bit of speed on your competitors, but you get it wrong, and we've seen guys have to give up a couple of positions giving those slowdowns back. So it's a lot of give and take for these guys on how hard they want to push it.
And currently at this moment, Golden State has race control. Steve Benjamin, huge thanks for running race control for us throughout all of the season, giving these drivers black flag clears, informing on penalties, and also giving us the information as we have crossed the halfway marker for the field. Zach Hull leading the way for the 32. Christopher Norris going to be second. And as the field is trying to prepare, Ryan Lynch issues for the 3.
Lap car.
As once again, it's Radeon that
Stay to the left. He's going to let you go.
striking again
Clear.
at hurting another driver.
Car on
That
your
looks
right.
like a little bit of front end damage
He-
there. Could
Clear
have
on the
gone
right.
into the
Wow, he dove that in there for nothing,
drivers do,
and he spun it out.
by Zach Hall as well for the 3 of Ryan.
That just gave you a nice cushion.
Fortunate for him is
Hey, Doug, thanks for the like.
Thomas trying to hold off the 99 of Brandon Colley. These two have been pretty much
No,
nose
Sarton
to
got through.
nose. 6
Wilson got caught up a little bit.
since that of about lap 8 right before the pit stops.
And trying to figure out who's going to be the faster driver here, or will they just continue to play this flip-flop game? It's Colley's been ahead at moments, and then it's Tyler Thomas taking the position back. And as well, Chris Stitz moving up to 8th place, 17 recovery run for himself, but for how long? The 11's trying to put the pressure and figure out how to get by the 17.
Yeah, Stitz just had a moment, was off into grass there for a split second, got loose, had to get back into it. So lost a lot of time that he had over the 11 and the 99, so he backs up into this picture, and these 3 get to battle and even more. I mean, Ken Campbell's just quietly lurking back there in the 11th place in that 15 machine. And this is that group that again, right before pit stops was all nose to tail, and even after pit stops, here they are again, just battling it out, just showing you how close their lap times are, even with 15 to go.
Looking back, off the front back,
I can't see who turned the lights off.
17.
All of a sudden, the whole track's behind a cloud.
In many different leagues, many different vehicles, road courses. It certainly is a
They got Darlingtonitis.
got drivers that you just can never get away from. And everyone's running so consistently, and you got the pressure like this, where you've got 3 drivers just cannot get away from one another. Instead, touching the dirt, that is a dangerous place to find yourself.
Oh yeah, in the dirt, that's never a spot where you want to get into. Sometimes hate dirt, hate gravel, not advantageous for grip at all. It's holding on, but yeah, having that pressure out behind you, it's tough. You're concentrating on corner entry, braking, making sure you're in the right braking zone, downshifting through the gears, watching the mirror to make sure the guy behind you doesn't lock up and maybe puts you offline. You got to worry about corner exit. I mean, it's a lot that you have to deal with each and every corner, and a lot of pressure there from the 11 of Tyler Thomas gets right to the rear bumper of Stitz and Brady Colley right there, as well as this group of 3 still those tails ahead in start number 1.
So it's going to go with defensive outside positioning and break a little bit of that draft that the 11 searching for, instead going much wider sweeping corner. Tyler Thomas, because he went so shallow, the rear end just not gripping up and really sliding his way as he gasses up the speed, getting through the gears. Brady Colley, well, he risks going side by side. He just saw earlier in the race, Shane Becker, Tyler Thomas did not have a safe way through the uphill side by side. Thinks otherwise. And now set up down the Kemmel stretch, the fastest point of the racetrack. You're hitting your top speed for drivers. They are maxing out at almost 175 miles per hour before they have to slam on the brakes and get ready for corners number 5, 6, and 7.
You got a big draft zone down that back straightaway. You get a lot of time gain on the cars in front of you, but then a big braking zone trying to get that car slowed down from 170 all the way down to about 80 miles an hour and set you up for this next little bit of corners. Instead, it's a little bit of breathing room since that mistake from the 11 of Tyler Thomas on board with Brandon Colley as he closes in. A little bit of a mistake there from the 11 allows the 99 to get to the rear bumper, but just nowhere for Colley to really go as he's going to have to continue to follow Tyler through this left-hander and into the double apex left-handers up in the next section.
Pressure is on drivers, certain having to deal with a lot. As you can see, just the difference on braking zones. Some drivers really want to slow up set up to carry better momentum through this double left-hander, and Tyler Thomas just 5-8 for now, and Brandon Colley trying to move forward, doesn't want to just settle for 10, wants the chance to grab that 8th place position, and if they really get cruising, might have a chance to try to run down Dalton Alexander, but when you've got 3 drivers not giving each other any breathing room, it's hard to really focus on putting down fast laps. It's more of just each corner, how do I defend? How do I get out of the exit of the corner well? And it's slowing you down for the rest of the field in front.
It's definitely slowing them down. It's all about that defense.
3 seconds over starting now.
How do I slow down the guy behind me? And hopefully he gets to battling with the car behind him so I can drive away. And Stitt's trying to figure all that out as he tries to hold off that Tyler Thomas, Brandon Colley, Kim Campbell. But Campbell's lost this group by a little bit, almost 2 seconds that he's lost to the 99 of Colley. Colley going to look to the outside, maybe set him up, a little bit of contact, and there goes the 11.
Tyler Thomas spun around. Ken Campbell going to be taking that advantage of the 11, going around for himself. And just like that, he goes from a group of 3 now down to a little bit of spacing and breathing room as Thomas, not a fan of being spun around, but he is going to have to try to figure out how to settle back in, and maybe has to go with that undercut and take another look at this incident.
I don't know. I don't think he got spun around, Sam. I think he just got into that final, that chicane too deep. A lot of rear braking. It spun it out to keep from clearing out the 17 of Stitz, and Colley just a little bit of a tap kind of finished him off there. But I got to say, heads up move from Tyler Thomas to not just go in there and clean out Chris Stitz, because I think he missed that braking zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to do, though. You think about how fast you're going these corners. Brakes are not a fan. Try to slow down immediately, and even Tyler Thomas now with that slide, the extra heat built up in the tires. It's not 11 each and every corner we're touching at this moment. As the 11 is just trying to limp his way at this point. Just a couple of more laps you have to survive before pit road is going to be calling your name for the final time here tonight. And then you can take it to the end of this race, where these drivers have been trying to hold on steady as John Dart and others continue to race on. It gives us time to get, there's really a little bit of quiet for us to talk. We want to give a huge shout out to the amazing sponsors here for the Full Set Racing Series, as they've helped out the last couple of seasons. For some of these sponsors, others just hopping forward this season, and they are also helpful. Starting things off with Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Go over to Butt Kicker to grab your Gamer 2. Instead of just hearing sounds, why not feel the sounds? As these drivers are feeling the pressure, why not feel the rumbles, rumble strips, the sliding of the tires, to get you more immersed into your racing action. And once you get yourself your Butt Kicker, you attach to a racing rig to fully be immersed, and why not level up your racing with Next Level Racing? Racing rigs on a budget, or if you're looking for the most expensive, they've
All
got
right, 12 to go. Coming in next time or the time after?
comfort and
This time.
affordability
All right.
for yourself. Go to Next Level Racing.
Double check everything right now.
And for drivers, you want to help out with, maybe you need to change your tires, fuel, or if you're a race admin, Button Box is the best way to elevate yourself on being quick and efficient. Go over
I can make it from here, right?
now
Yeah.
on
It says right now margin of lapse is 1.
Instagram. Go check out how you can grab your Button Box today from Gersim Studios. Also, it's the
I don't want him to undercut me.
race, the Gersim
Yeah.
Studios Grand Prix 130. And finally, once you are set up,
All 4.
maybe you want to listen about how the race
Full of fuel.
action is going on in real
Very good.
time. Well, that's when you go over to On the Throttle podcast, weekly uploads about the top racing around the world, hearing from Billy Duff as well as Trey Jackson. Currently, their most recent episode is
You got 3 back to starting, so no pressure going into pit road. Hit your marks. Max speed to the line
Go listen and listen to their great
when you get there.
on how racing is happening outside the Full Set Racing Series. Well, Trevor, currently drivers are thinking about pit stops. Could it be now? Could it be in the next 2 to 3 laps? When are you thinking about it if you're these drivers up front?
Yeah, Dalton Alexander already hit his pit
That
stop.
was 21st, 22nd talking.
We saw it take a pit stop at the first part of the race. Now we're going to be the first car down pit road. In the second half, going to go for that undercut again. Tony Brent on pit road as well on the 28 machine. So pit stop.
Hey, Nathan.
I think for our leaders, you'll see them
No, I just don't want him to
20.
undercut me because the first lap out's about 2 seconds quicker.
Will it work out for him? As you can see here, the 39
I got to keep him behind me.
on off pit road, trying to get back up through the field as he's right ahead of the 26 of Travis Dart.
He'll probably pit with me here.
All the hoping he doesn't make the same mistake he did under that first pit stop, where in those first couple of laps, he ran out, ran into a driver, and oh, it's Jay Beckert into the dirt for the 10 machine right in front of Donald Alexander. It was almost another issue.
All right, coming down the back stretch.
That's the 10, able to get rolling once again for himself, and Jay Beckert has just gone from bad to worse after his contact with Tyler Thomas earlier in the race. No hood, but at least still able to.
Now here comes your
The
entrance.
car in front
just
is
go
pitting.
charge forward and utter his way.
Leader's pitting as well.
15.
There you go.
Even with all that damage he's had, still has pretty good pace up there in 15th position. You see Christopher Norris on pit road, so he's going to come in a lap earlier than anticipated.
Good job.
Try to see if he can
Pitboxing,
undercut Zach
10.
Hall and maybe gain a little bit of time on that 32 machine. And here comes Brian
5,
McCain and the 8 machine also down pit road.
3,
I like this call,
2,
going with the undercut.
1.
Like you noted
Right
on
here.
earlier with Dalton Alexander. Yes, he was being passed.
All right, 4 and fuel. Sarton stayed out. Zach Hall stayed out. Brian Wilson stayed out.
Spot.
So did Brandon Colley. No, actually, Brandon Colley's coming in. Ken Campbell
Dramatic
stayed out.
groupings.
You are going to have a clear pit
All right,
road when
that's
you're
it.
ready.
Go.
Come on out.
This go round or the next, allowing
Pit road speed.
close in on the gap. Bill the 32 just decide I'm just going to run my own race, hit the
10-car
points when I'm expecting to hit pit
Then
road.
you are clear, sir. Good job.
The next looks to be the window for the 32.
Yeah, I think probably we'll see Zach in this lap. Got a little bit of lap traffic ahead of him, so why not come down pit road, get those 4 first tires, get some clean air. That way you're not held
I
up.
about lost it.
This lap traffic giving those guys
Hopefully you don't catch me here.
an advantage on you, so expect to see that 32 machine down pit road this time by Jay Becker down pit road. Brandon Colley, Travis Dart also on pit road as well to get their final pit stops out of the way for themselves. As we'll wait and see here as we follow Zach
You came out P5.
this time by.
Still has about a half a course.
Brian Wilson, Cameron Sarton still yet to pit.
Round here in spot.
No way anybody can make it.
In length, I mean in time per lap. It's a long lap. You're constantly focusing on your braking zones because one mistake can be fatal for your race to be done. Like what we saw, we lost the 77 of William Duff. We lost Caleb Smith. We almost lost that of Dave McConnell, who spent time at pit road. Is only 3 laps down for the board. Incredible to see the amount of damage he grabbed, but still able to continue racing. And I think that has been the biggest talking point at the end of the night. 1, Zach's dominant, and 2, the damage the drivers are taking, but yet still running pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Ken Campbell's had front end damage all night long. Jay Becker with the front end damage. William Duff, we saw he unfortunately had to retire, but David McConnell's had damage. Alex Jones had contact with the 28 of Tony Brent. So I mean, we've seen cars get damage and be able to just carry on at a pretty good pace. Zach Hall
10 to go.
traffic going to stay out for another lap though, as he puts a lap on Alex Jones in the 45. Not sure if he was trying to get the pit road right there, Sam, or just kind of caught the 45 at a bad time for himself.
Sounded like he actually did want to come
pulling
into
away
pit
from the
road
car
at that
behind.
time,
You
so
got
this is going to be a little bit more
3.8.
dramatic to watch out. As just speaking of the flare, losing the rear end, the tires maybe a little bit more worn, as this is the longest run Zach has ran all night long. Previously, he went into pit road on lap
The car in
10.
front is
He's
pitting.
now accurate lap pressuring. Is the fuel there for Zach Hall? It should. We saw
All right, Brian Wilson down pit road.
15 to 12
That's going to be an immediate P4.
laps before pitting.
Can they
But
go
is
with the
it the
line?
right strategy? Because Christopher Norris is already by that Ryan L. Wilson. He's got clean air to
car
work with.
behind is pitting.
And the 38 is charging his way and hoping to grab the lead once this pit stop cycle is done. Let's find out where are the drivers lined up for this race as we will take our final commercial break of the evening. Where will the drivers be? How will this race end? We'll give you all the answers when we come back for tonight's race. You watch the Ultimate Racing Series. It's the Gerson Studios Grand Prix 130. Zach Hall leads pit road for himself here very quickly, and he's hoping it's going to be a good one. We'll be back right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Thank you.
The leader is pitting now.
All right, Hall's coming down pit road. Sarton's going down pit road now as well.
The car in front is pitting.
That was your fastest lap of the session. You're back in for it.
There you go.
You've got a slow car on the right.
It's contact very nearly. He's just to the outside. He breaks so much later. Raskin can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end? And here.
P3 and P2 is about 10 seconds ahead. That battle of the car right in front of you is not position.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left hand.
And you guys starting by a good almost 15 seconds. Way to push.
Each other coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4 coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here.
9 to go.
Side by side through the final chicane. Deep bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down at the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Still back into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and through the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Aphrodite is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Full Set Racing Series. It's race number 8 of the regular season, and it is the Gersh Sim Studios Grand Prix 130 at Spa, the first road course of the season, and it is drama time. 9 laps to go. Zach Hall staying out maybe a lap or later than he wanted, and the gap has ballooned. Christopher Norris, who's been running in second all night long, has taken the lead. It's 3.2 seconds currently, and Zach Hall has to run Norris down. And
I got off track.
Has to do it. Trevor, it's been a good one so far. We've been watching the absolute incredible battling from
You're fine.
back to around 11.
You're fine.
All night
There's a good
long.
spot to get it.
Group's been
Been battling that one all night to not get it.
the lead really all night long.
Car 38
I've not talked about
taking
the
the lead.
lead at all tonight, but here it is. And the
You're
question
back in
is,
third.
Zach Hall's been up front all night long, had that clean air, been able to run his own pace. Can he
Still 15 seconds back to the 24.
without making any mistakes? That's going to be the key for this 32. And it was that battle with lap traffic where it was Zach trying to get through that lap traffic. It cost him a lot of time, had to stay out one extra lap that allowed that undercut from Christopher Norris to get by. But already Zach was at 3.2 seconds, now down to 2.4 seconds as they head up down the Camel Straight.
And Zach is working these tires. There is no care anymore. He stayed at a lap extra so he can just be slightly more aggressive on every little bit of a corner that he feels like can extend. And right now, Christopher Norris, Zach Hall, about a second has already been lost in just about a lap that Zach has been out there on track. It's incredible to see the difference of Zach Hall and Christopher Norris. Norris has been a lot more on the consistent, run my own pace, and sometimes he's faster than Zach Hall. Other times, Zach has been the faster driver when you look at the long run. But in those later laps, Christopher Norris at times was running faster than Zach Hall and actually closed in the gap. I'm curious, by the time that Zach gets the back bumper this 38, will the swinging of that pendulum react? Will Christopher Norris will be able to pull away?
It's going to be the question. I mean, I'm going to be interested to find out that answer, Sam. Who knows? I mean, he's got to get there first. 2.3 the gap. I mean, he's closing in on Norris, and all it takes, though, is one little mistake from Christopher Norris. They'll put the 32 right there. Maybe a mistake from Zach Hall could widen that gap back out. 8 laps to go, 4.35 miles each lap. I mean, plenty of opportunities for each of these drivers to make a mistake. This battle for the lead is going to tighten up.
It's going to tighten up. Another battle's on track as well. They're starting to tighten up. The battle for 6th place is underway. Dalton Alexander, who went for another incredible undercut here tonight, hoping those tires can survive all the way to the end. He's got to defend Brian L. Wilson, who's been looking fabulous tonight. The nine's been hoping to grab a top 5 finish. It looks like 6th might be the best one here this evening, as Cedric Hunter has already made the pass for 5th and trying to set up the pass for 4th. But can Dalton Alexander, with the tires that are going to be fading quicker than the 9 machine, can he hold off his 30? Can he hold off the 9, who's just been so quick here on the later runs?
Got look a little bit loose there from Dalton Alexander as they head off into the back, the 3rd sector of the racetrack. Wilson all over the rear bumper of Dalton Alexander. I got to give Alexander credit. I mean, he's tried the oddball strategy, the massive undercuts, and it's worked out for him. Even on those older tires, been able to hold off drivers to see what and stay within the top 10. But I don't think he's got anything for this 9 machine of Brian Wilson, who's hounding.
The gap between the leaders right now is a 1.2. Hall is definitely catching Norris.
Will even be
Best thing that can happen for you is those 2 tango, maybe slide off track, something like that, and you just kind of zip on by.
that 2.5 seconds. Zach Hall looking like he will be able to make the pass here in the next 2 to 3 laps. If not even this lap, he can get a better run. Some of the corners, as the question starts to loom for Christopher Norris, is he feeling the pressure as this 38 has been spending all week trying to learn from Zach Hall. Zach is
7 to go.
The master, the fastest driver of this race course. But can the 38
Yeah, my right thumb has gone a little asleep so far.
be the defender? Can you hold off the 32 champion?
I've been there before.
Drivers at the
Cost me a race at Dover one year.
And Norris is going to have his hands full. Thankfully, these two are teammates, so if they do get to racing with one another, you would think that the racing will be clean. But who knows? For a race win, maybe it'd be Norris's first win of the season. It'd be Zach's second win of the season. So maybe Norris gets the elbows out, as they say in Formula One, and tries to defend this 32.
Good thing is my thumb.
Is that 32?
I only need one thumb for the space bar.
38 of Christopher Norris.
Well, I know we got race control up and watching the racing action, but the penalties system isn't as aggressive or strict like the FIA for F1. So if Christopher Norris wants, he can with heavy blocks. So they've got 13.5 seconds really to work with, but Brian McCann is that far back. So if they get to that hard, aggressive racing, some massive blocks, maybe they do rub some fenders. This is not over for themselves. And Brian McCann is crossing his fingers, hoping the teammates will just throw away a 1-2 finish that they are hoping to grab. And lap traffic.
Our leaders are catching some lap traffic.
They're closing in on Dave McConnell. Will the Porsche just get out of the way as we're closing in on the last chicane? I think the Porsche is going to get moved to the side once he sees Christopher Norris and Zach Hall close in. But Zach, a much cleaner run in the entry and the exit. It's now less than a second between first and second.
Had a really good dive there into that last chicane. Got in a little deep, though. Cost him a little bit on corner exit. But it's been right here through turn number 1 that he gets a lot better drive off than Christopher Norris. You can see that gap close down again. Gains about 2/10 there on Norris as they accelerate heading up into Ruben Radion.
Going to be flying up through this corner. Christopher Norris trying to make sure he stays in between those red lines, and I think he might have went a little bit over half looking, and Norris does get a slowdown penalty. He just makes the slight mistake. He's gonna have to back off as well as trying to get past the lap car, and that's the mistake Zach Hall was looking for. Now Norris is just trying to slowly each and every corner give a little bit of space, a little bit of time, but he's gonna have to lose the lead. Zach gives the bump. I don't know if he knows if there's a slowdown penalty as Norris defends aggressively. Again, another tap to the back bumper, putting the pressure on Zach to the inside and for the lead as Norris backs off and has to relent the lead because of the slowdown.
That one little mistake, we talked about it, such a long lap around here, and just doing it that early on at one of the fastest parts of the track, that's probably the worst spot you can get that slowdown penalty. And Norris did everything in his power to serve that and keep the 32 machine behind him, and you can see the contact being made, but inevitably had to give that spot up to Zach Hall. And now that he's by him, Sam, I don't know if that 38 is going to be able to mount and charge back on his teammate.
2 lap older tires. Zach was already running about a second faster than Christopher Norris, and it looked inevitable that it was going to happen. Of the 32, this has been his run, his race in looking to become a 2-time winner this season. As Zach Hall won back at Iowa, and then he has been searching for his second win. And tonight looks to be destiny calling. And Zach Hall, the next driver in line that they're going to have lap traffic with, is going to be, I believe, the 21st position of Chris Maleka, and also Nick Holland are going to be the next 2 drivers.
I can definitely tell where my wheel settings have hurt me.
Captain of these drivers, I don't think.
Did you stay at the 8?
As we've got 6, soon to be 5 laps to go here tonight.
No, I think lap traffic's going to be a non-factor for these guys.
Yeah, I'm 8, no force feedback.
Gotcha.
Like we saw Christopher Norris, but same. It's been 25 laps. I don't think I've seen the 32 have an issue all night long, and would be pretty surprised to see him get one of those slowdown penalties that would cost him that much time. Norris not giving up too much here. He pulls in about 0.2 of a second right there. In that final chicane, it's been kind of his stronger point over this 32 of Zach Hall. And down here in the turn number 1, so you can gain a little bit more time. He gets an inside wall.
5 to go, 6.4 in the tank. You're looking good.
Norris slams into the wall. He was trying to grab some advantage, and it's thrown away for himself. Other drivers throwing away positions. Dalton Alexander going off track has lost now 2 positions because of the off track. It's down to 9th place. Give it a spot to Brandon Colley, but that's great for Christopher Norris, as well as Zach Oliver, the slip and slide. I mean, this fight may not be over just because of how hard Zach had to fight. And speaking of fight, here's the fight for 8th place. Colley on trying to keep that rear end underneath them. Same for Dalton Alexander.
Yeah, Colley really slow through that last chicane there, and that allowed Dalton Alexander to get to the rear bumper. But the 2-lap difference in tires there allows the 99 to get a better drive off. And again, out of turn number 1, the traction zone is going to be into the favor of the 99 of Brandon Colley. He's able to pull away from Dalton Alexander as they head up into a Rouge.
Right, see, fastest corner, we've seen mistakes. Drivers going just slightly off course to the left, and you can lose time with the slowdown penalty. It looks like Brandon Colley just gave away as he almost was given a slowdown penalty, able to keep himself full throttle and trying to run down, if possible, to the likes of Chris Stitz. But that's going to be support. That's over 3.5 seconds gap there. Other drivers that are battling between one another. Christopher Norris found a little bit of extra speed. He's cut the gap down to 0.5 second, and it's right there on the back bumper. This race is not over yet with 5 laps to go.
Got a slow
Was
car
down
on
to 0.5 second, was up to 1 second. And the question here, did
I was going to say stay right, but they went ahead and towed. You're good?
something we haven't touched on a lot versus the Indy cars and trucks tire wear really big here on road courses compared to the next 2 cars with drivers don't take tires. And Zach kind of pushed to catch up to the 38. Did he burn up his tires and his Norris just maybe saving a little something here for the end of the race?
At moments in the leader run, was the faster driver. So for the 38, she, like I said, saving his tires and as well.
I got another one.
Stronger on the long run. Right on the back bumper. This is where Zach was having the bigger gain.
Okay, you're good.
Up 2 gears, back on the throttle, and Christopher Norris with the better luck with the trap. Gotta have it.
Plenty
How many
of
am
time
I
for
up to now?
incidents.
Up drill
Yeah.
the Radeon.
Let's take a look.
Staying off that inside wall. It's a smart decision by the 38 as he's going to keep it right on the back bumper. Hope to get some draft. He's trying to do a simple cut, but he's staying away from utilizing the draft. Instead, trying to cut the course. And I don't know, those are the 2 difficult calls he has to make. It's Christopher Norris up through Radeon, keeps himself in between the rumble strips, and he's looking quick and has the draft now down the double strip.
Looking pretty good.
I think 3.
Radeon now down the panel straight, closing in, using that draft hard braking zone down here into the right, the left-hander as he closes in on Zach Hall. Not close enough to make a dive, but just letting Zach know, hey, I'm still here. I'm not going away. They head through this complex, and Norris again continues to chase, not giving up a lot of time. They're really quick in that 38.
And with how aggressive this battling for the lead has been, they have ballooned out the gap between first to third place of Brian McCann. It was about 13 seconds. It's now almost 16 seconds.
Nope, I take that back. You're 4.
Has
You're good.
No one to worry about. The next closest driver is Cameron Sartin, 11.5 seconds back from the 8 machine. Sartin's got to worry about maybe Cedric Hunter as they've been running equal lap times between 4th and 5th place. And then in 6th place, Brian L. Wilson. doesn't have anyone to worry about. I think the rest of the field, really, it's only the battle for the lead. That's the closest one on track currently.
Yeah, I mean, you think back, same over the course of the race, we were talking about battles from fourth pretty much all the way down to 15th. Didn't talk about a battle for the lead, but now these last 7 laps or so, here it is. The battle for the lead's been the closest battle has been the closest battle for the second half of this race. And Norris, again, they are pressuring this 32 of Zach Hall, and you got to wonder, I mean, this is the first time Zach's been under pressure all race long. Is it going to get to this 32 machine?
And as we're closing in, with 50 laps to go, we see another lap car to worry about. Nick Holland in the 13. Struggling in the early portions of this race, just been survival mode. He's hoping he can at least stay close to our top, stay in front of our leaders, but he's not looking like he's got the pace to do so. It might be this lap, could be the next, but we start to see Christopher Norris, Zach Hall, how do you venture around the 13 machine as Christopher Norris still keeping a close distance to our leader. And I think it really is going to come down these first couple of corners about setting up that turn into turn 5 on if Norris can keep himself close enough to make a dive bomb move.
Yeah, he's got to set himself up out of 1 up through a Rouge and ready on down the Camel Straight to really be able to get close enough to make a dive here on Zach Hall. And the question is, if he's close enough this lap, do you do it this lap, or do you try to bank on being close enough to try it on the last lap? That's going to be the question for Norris on what he wanted to do. But, I mean, look right here, Sam, really close. Zach with a little bit of bobble over the curb as that 38 continues to get the draft off his teammate, closing in down the Camel Straight.
Trying to close in, but Zach is also getting the toe from Nick Holland.
I've already transitioned to just taking it easy so I don't wreck.
Really close in.
Gotcha.
For
Well, there's a race for the lead right now, so
no draft.
I'm hoping that they're going to wreck.
If he's going to have a chance to make this pass, which is going to force him, and Zach goes a little bit wide. Norris goes low, shallow entry, trying to force the mistake by Zach Hall. Will slip in the rear end, and still to keep it. Nose to tail with the lap car in front of him.
And this is going to get interesting. Where is Nick Holland going to go to get out of the way? This is kind of a really tight complex.
Thank you.
For them to catch lap traffic. And this is going to hold up the 32 just a little bit and allow Norris to close back in. Holland's going to dive into the left-hand side of the racetrack.
12 seconds back to Sarton.
As this battle continues, really great move there from Nick to get out of the way.
Plenty of room.
Goes a little bit wide here through the double left-hander, trying to get better momentum on the exit, but Norris right there on his rear bumper.
Norris deciding to see, he's just going to back off. He was really right in the back corner. Deciding
I would say thank you, but I don't know what my talk button is.
And it's working for the 38's advantage as we're going through these last couple of curves before we hit.
And there's a good chance I'll hit ignition, so.
Before they set it into the chicane, and it's Christopher Norris.
Be careful.
Now, his rear tires are flaring up as he's trying to gas it up, trying to keep with the same momentum as Zach Hall. As we got 3 laps to go, soon to be 2 laps to go. The 38 might have found his first opportunity, but he's not utilizing.
Do you know of a way to remap buttons on a Fanatec wheel?
Trying to make sure he can hit the apex point. He's not giving up.
That would be nice for when you swap
No,
wheels
I don't.
around.
Instead, he's forcing Zach to go with the oddball entry and exits, and here's the first opportunity.
32 looped it. You're going to gain some time.
Tap to the rear end of Zach, but locks up the brakes. Norris, Zach spun! Zach spun! Norris takes the lead!
2 laps to go.
There it is. The pressure from Christopher Norris looked to the inside, backed out of it, went back to the racing line. Zach got in too deep, locks it up, spins out, and Norris now to the lead. 2 laps to go.
Who is 32?
Zach Hall.
Second gap back to the
guy that's led like almost the whole race.
This should be his race.
Christopher Norris, this is the move.
Chris Norris took the lead, 4 seconds ahead.
Outside, Zach knows that Christopher Norris may be locking up. He's trying to predict. Instead, he outbrakes himself, spins around. Christopher Norris gets the last lap as he pulls away to a over a 3.5 second gap lead, and it continues to go. And Zach,
we want Norris to win.
And just staying out that extra lap, Trevor. That pressure.
Well, that's going to happen.
Zach the win.
It very well could have been, and I mean, what a change of events here that we saw. I mean, we thought once Zach got
coming to 1 to go,
that it was going to be done and dusted. He was going to drive off into the sunset, collect his second win of the season, but Norris able to keep close and get that gap back down, and then force the mistake out of the 32, who's looked just untouchable all night long. And now here Norris is. About halfway through this lap, Sam coming almost to the white flag. He's just got to keep it calm, cool, and collected. He's got now a 4-second lead over Zach Hall.
I mean, all the pressure's on Zach. Zach has not been in this spot at all. I talked about Christopher Norris, those late runs. He's had a couple laps where he was faster than Zach, and Zach just has been losing touch. He burnt the tires off trying to run down this 38, and once again, a simple mistake and maybe some gamemanship. Norris has been known for outbraking himself and locking up the brakes. And when it comes down to these,
Zach Hall's tires are fried.
maybe that guy that had Zach Hall, that he was going to get ran over by the 38.
He had to run him down, didn't he? Zach ran Norris down.
Yeah.
In the car, in the sim, you can hear when other drivers around you are locking up, and so maybe
And then they got into a braking zone. He braked a little bit too much, ended up looping it around.
a little bit deeper, anticipating that
That brake bias will get you every time.
he realized that he was just in too deep for himself, a little bit too much rear.
Yes, it will.
And Morris able to just kind of pull the dummy on him and get that position, force that mistake out.
For Norris, the gap is up to 5 seconds now. It continues to grow. Last season was a fill-in driver. This season, through the last chicane, hitting the front stretch, the 38. Seeing what he wants to see, doesn't have to worry about any more pressure. Just run a clean lap. It's your next level racing. White flag for the 38 of Christopher Norris.
19 corners, 4.35 miles to go for Christopher Norris to get his first win of the season through turn number 1. Now just got to get up through Eau Rouge, ready on down the Camel Straight. Can't cut Eau Rouge here, saying we saw him do it earlier with that battle for Zach Hall. Needs to keep it nice and tidy up here to avoid a slowdown penalty. No pressure, 5.6 seconds to Zach Hall as he heads up Eau Rouge.
Up Eau Rouge, got down to the Camel Straight.
All right, buddy. Last lap.
This 38 machine got past his overcoming. We thought that because he got that slow down yield penalty, that maybe his chances of winning tonight was done and dusted. He fought back, had the mental fortitude. At most of this race, he was 3 to 5 seconds off of Zach Hall, but he was down to that final pit stop, the undercut, giving the Christopher Norris the lead by 3 seconds, forcing Zach Hall's hand to outrun himself. And it did late with 3 coming to 2 laps to go. Zach Hall spins out, and Christopher Norris has a half a track to go before he is a full set Racing Series winner.
I mean, Jim, what a turn of events tonight has taken Zach Hall from the drop of the green flag, dominant car, battles throughout, 4th on back, didn't even think about the lead. Final pit stops come down, a little bit of, strategy call from the 38. All of a sudden we have a battle for the lead, a mistake. And here's Christopher Norris saying coming to the last part, sector 3 of this racetrack to collect what could be his first win if he gets through here mistake-free.
I mean, Christopher Norris has been trying to stay consistent and out of trouble the best that he could. And now for himself, it's just an easy run down. The gap is now over 5.5 seconds for this driver, and he has been fighting and clawing to find consistency in every vehicle that he runs. His best finish so far.
All right, buddy, getting to this back half of the track.
Season, and now full board. He's only got just a couple of more corners to go before the 38 gets to taste victory in the Full Set Racing Series Season 5, race number 8. And Christopher Norris learned lessons from Zach Hall throughout the week on how to get faster. He qualified up front, got 3rd place.
Better slow down. Run off the track there.
Corner, and then watched them all race long. Spin out, and now Christopher Norris.
Hey, it's the Full Send League, man. Full Send, last corners.
Oh, could you imagine losing that way?
Has found his groove. He is really
Good job, sir. Yeah, right.
Christopher Norris, the
Way to come across, man.
now what an evolution of a driver.
Up
Thank you,
5
thank you.
on the night. P3,
There's the
congrats
flag, man.
again.
It's over.
Grow up it's been for Norris. I mean, we've seen him
Great
in
job,
other leagues,
driver.
saying when he first started at the back of the field causing incidents, and now the growth, the evolution, the change of scenery that he had from one team to another. It's
Little podium. No points, but we'll take a podium.
as a winner, and what a drive it was here tonight. It's
I get to go up there and explain myself.
Hey,
Official record books on it, but I believe Christopher Norris, he just
Give the old Rolodex of excuses a good spin.
is now just to have fun out there on track. But I believe Christopher Norris is going to be one of the youngest drivers in Full Set Racing history books to win.
Wait, was that Christopher Norris without a hood?
And
Does he have a hood?
Christopher Norris joined, it was a talking point.
yeah, he's got a hood,
He
yeah.
got all the
Oh, it must be painted white or something. Looked like it was missing.
running in the league, and the kid gets it.
No, he actually, it is missing.
To Christopher.
What?
He must have hit something after after he took the checkers.
Ah.
McCann gets 3rd. Cameron Sarn gonna get 4th, and Cedric Hunter started.
I don't know why I'm still driving.
Position, he will find himself being the driver into our top 5.
I guess we'll pull off
today.
on the straightaway.
Machine. Wow, what a run. Congratulations to Christopher Norris. And for us of the booth, we're going to step away. Enjoy the pacing as the 38 gets to enjoy this victory. And when we come back, we're going to have the post.
I am podium. Can 3 cars burn out?
And a spotlight driver right after this.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see why not. After never being on this track before, coming across P3, I think you'd earn it.
Yeah, the broadcast is still following him around, so.
Yeah.
You're missing a front end, Norris. What'd you do?
I made a mistake going up ton 2. It's already at the celebration though.
Is that what happened to Zach?
No, he got screwed up about lap cuts and then he spun out when we were battling going to the final chicane. I didn't touch him though.
Wreck him.
Fully.
Took his bumper off.
Oh, now you don't have a rear end either.
Yeah.
Might as well take my dual panels off while you're at it.
We'll just take a saw and cut off the roof.
Well, one thing I can congratulate or celebrate, I should say.
Yeah,
not wrecking.
They beat his back bumper off. They took his head off, and yeah.
I thought for sure I was going to take some wrecks tonight, but
I mean, you did your thing. A lot of credit to you for never ever racing on this track before. That's huge.
look, Ma, no hands. That engine lasts forever on road courses.
And not too shabby.
Well, once again, thank you for all the good information so I don't have to look down or look over at something and wreck. Then, that helps out a ton. I can't tell you how many times I'm looking at like relative
not
or,
a problem, man.
or brake bias or whatever.
Nah, you're absolutely welcome. Where's it? Let's see, where's that? Where's that next week? I can't freaking talk tonight. There we go. Looks like September 12th. Charlotte.
Oh boy.
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. Well, I'm going to hop up in the waiting room and
make sure
repeat 1975.
No, it's not. Yes, sir. On everywhere. All right, buddy. Congrats again.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yep, you too.
2 tenths or whatever. And then all of a sudden I heard my spotter say, 38 is the new leader. And I was like, oh. And then Zach was like 4 seconds back from you. And I was like, no, Norris. You wrecked Zach.
I didn't touch him. If anything, just put the pressure on him. But I feel bad for him. He got screwed
Well, what a race that came down to drama. We thought it was in the hands of Zach Hall, but pitch strategies changed things up. Instead, it's Christopher Norris that finds himself in a victory lane for the Gersim Studios Grand Prix 130. Let's talk to the excitement. And one of the few drivers that maybe you thought was going to win at the start of the season. Instead, it takes him 8 races, full-time now for Season 5, and Christopher Norris, one of the youngest drivers to win in this series. Chris, you, sir, are a Full Send Racing Series winner. Man, how are you feeling after this one?
All I can say is, how did that happen, man? I didn't know I wasn't able to get it done, but it just took a lot of pressure and a lot of just, I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless.
I mean, Norris, Zach gets back by you there with about 7 laps to go, and kind of pulls it out to a 1 second gap, and we look back up, and you've got it down to 5, or got it down to about half a second. I mean, what was going through your mind once he got by you, and when you caught back up to him? I mean, what was just the thought process and all that?
Look at that traffic jam.
Honestly, he's my teammate. I can't wreck him, and I wouldn't say I would do that to anyone else.
Everybody made it through, though.
Sean, I needed to be there to make the move if the move was there. Unfortunately, he got screwed over to some lap cars early and couldn't follow my undercut. And he had to pit 2 laps after instead of 1 lap after. So once I knew I got that lead, and unfortunately, I did get a slowdown, which I had to try to move off his nose. Which I'm forever grateful that he didn't spin me for that, even though in my opinion that's a normal move in iRacing. But yeah, I just knew as soon as he got back by, I need to put the pressure on and do it as best as I can.
I mean, Chris, you get the win. When you started this season off, and even we can think about last season when you were the fill-in driver, when you were racing with this field, what was your confidence level? Did you feel like a win was even possible before coming into tonight?
Not really. I knew compared to the Trucks last season, I had a pretty good chance of top 10s here averagely. But lesson learned, the Trucks are a lot different than the Xfinity cars, so a little bit of a learning curve, but fortunately able to come back and get some things I could learn.
Well, Norris, congratulations on getting this win, and before we let you go, the floor is now yours.
Of course, I have to shout out my teammates, Zachary Hall, Andrew Medlin, unfortunately was not here tonight, and Ken Campbell. Thank you, Zach, for teaching me. He luckily taught me well enough to be able to get by him and race him cleanly, and I appreciate him racing me cleanly as well, so we could have that epic test towards the end. Shout out to my family, my mom and dad watching. I'm glad they could finally see me get a win. You guys for the amazing job you guys do. And then, of course, the league admins for putting on the amazing show. And also Lids, customlids.com. Get yourself a custom hat. Like I will probably after this race.
Well, Norris, we said it after you crossed the line. It has been incredible to watch your development as a driver from when we first saw you racing in other leagues to where you are now. Congratulations on this win. Enjoy it. And good luck next week.
Thank you.
As that is going to be your winner here tonight, Christopher Norris in the 38 machine. He had to beat out the 32 of Zach Hall, who dominated, got the stage win, but it came down to the final pit stop. And I know the frustration might be there, Zach, but how are you feeling after tonight's run? I know the win was the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I had them muted.
And second's what it was. I know I could say a lot more, but it's I'm gonna just try to keep my calm, and I just gave one up there. That was just dumb on my part.
That guy's mad.
I knew when he was pitting. I mean, I could have pit right with him, and I felt like, okay, I'll just let him pit that 1 lap earlier, and we come back around to that 10th lap of that run, and I was going to pit with 10 to go. That was the plan all the way.
Y'all can't hear it, but I'm hearing it.
We caught some lap traffic in that lap, and it really hurt me in the middle part of the lap with just the dirty air because they were on fresh tires and right in front of me, and I had the old tires, so I was sliding around a lot. And then when we got to the chicane, the bus stop, they all checked up, and I think they were trying to let me by. So I can't blame any of them because I think they're just trying to let me by as the leader. But we were side by side as we went through the bus stop, and I I'm on the outside and the inside for the last corner, so I couldn't get the pit road. So I knew at that point the race was kind of done. I was surprised I came out as close as I did, and I was able to get back to the lead. I mean, the tire model right now is just very tough.
Unfortunately, can't hear the broadcast.
Somebody, you get in their air and you just overwork everything, and I don't know. I mean, I gave it back to him by wrecking. So, I mean, good on Christopher.
I mean, Zach, you kind of answered the question I was going to ask you. Was having that extra 2-lap tire advantage on him? I mean, was it all used up trying to catch back up to him? And we know in the next gen car that the tire wear kind of is non-existent. It's more tire heat. But with these next gen cars, with the Xfinity cars, I mean, just how difficult is it, especially at a long road course like this, to keep the tires underneath you to consistently have some speed and traction out of the corners?
It's actually really difficult. How long the track is, you can really hurt the tires, and the track is a patience track, I feel like. And when you put yourself behind somebody and you got to run them down, you kind of start losing that patience. And what I was doing all throughout the race was just hitting my marks, and you see that person in front of you, you just try to catch them a little bit more, and then he got to slow down, I think, coming through a rouge, so he gave me the easy pass. I mean, well, I guess not easy. I had to kind of move him out the way with him trying to clear the slowdown on my nose, I guess. But I had to move him out of the way there. I thought it was clear sailing, and just made too many mistakes. I just started sliding, and we got close. We were starting to use every off track. I mean, I think at the beginning of the race, I barely had any incidents, and there at the end, I saw him using every bit of the track. So I'm like, well, now I got to do it, and I hadn't really done it the whole race. So I think that kind of threw me off and made my marks change. But I mean, nonetheless, I got beat. So we got to move on after this one.
And moving forward, Zach, there's some racetracks we know that you've been fast at before. We've got ourselves coming forward, Charlotte, Martinsville, and then in 3 weeks, it's the track that you debuted for the Full Send Racing Series and got the victory at in Indianapolis Oval. How are you feeling about these next 3 races? Is it kind of get this track out of your mind as soon as possible and think about the future as we're in the second half of the regular season?
Yeah, I think my mindset changed tonight. Take no prisoners. I'm going to go try to win every race now. I can't believe what I did tonight, giving up the win. So I'm putting extra thought into these races. I think Charlotte will be a good one. I ran a race there last season, or in the Xfinity car when I debuted with these guys and did pretty good. Martinsville, of course, we won. And Indianapolis, I think it don't matter what car you put me in there. I love that place. So I'm ready to go. It doesn't matter if we're on the road course, the dirt track in the middle. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we're good there, but we'll have a good time, I think, in these next 3 and try to get some playoff points. I got the stage win tonight. That was huge for playoff points, because that's what I want to build up really here is some playoff points before we head to those playoffs, man.
Well, Zach, still an impressive run here tonight, and second place is yours. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
First off, shout out to my teammates at Freaky Fast Racing. I mean, Christopher Norris, great job on him tonight, getting the win. It's hard to say good win to him because just the circumstance. I know how I messed that one up, but the kid is amazing. His growth has been tremendous, and I might have to start sharing less secrets with him if he keeps getting a little bit faster. So we'll have to think about that for the future. But also shout out to the league here at Full Send, all the sponsors that help put it on here, and to, of course, you guys up in the booth each and every week putting on a great show.
You should just be calling it the Cat 5 development crew. You guys are making some fast drivers out there. But again, congratulations about this driver much tonight. It was quiet, but at least a fantastic finish for the 3-time winner here this season. We got Brian McCann with us. Brian moved up 5 positions from where you qualified 8th, finished 3rd. I mean, we didn't get to talk about you much because we were talking about the drama behind you for the first half of the race. In the end, it was about the front 2, and then you found yourself smack dab in the middle. How are you feeling after your run here tonight?
Oh, feeling amazing. Didn't really have much practice at this track. Bought it a long time ago, played around with it some, but I think this was my first race here, and wasn't really sure how it would go. I just focused on, not making mistakes. I don't know how Norris and Hall was, turning the lap times they were, but I felt like I was on close to the edge, but I kind of stayed off of it, just played it safe, and come home with a podium, so I couldn't be happier.
I mean, Brian, through the first half of the regular season, 3 wins and a good solid run here tonight. How are you feeling going into the next couple of races, them being Charlotte, Martinsville, and Indianapolis?
All 3 tracks I love. Charlotte's my hometown. Martinsville is a flat track. I love flat tracks. And then Indianapolis, yeah, that's a fun one too. 4 different turns.
Well, Brian, it has been a great season for yourself so far. What do you feel like you can take away from today's race, if anything, moving forward into this season?
I didn't really know what kind of settings to come into. I don't have a lot of experience with Xfinity on roads, so I learned some stuff there. So I don't know what to do next time. I was pretty much just overdriving the front tires, I think. So I'll carry that forward.
Good knowledge to grab for our first race of the playoffs later in the season when we head to the Roval. Congratulations on a 3rd place finish, Brian. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any shout-outs.
Well, yeah, I'd like to thank my family, my wife, you guys for doing the broadcast, league admins, race control, sponsors. You know, this big show you got going on here, and I love it. I love seeing it on YouTube and everywhere else you broadcast. I'd like to give a shout-out to my repeat 1975, my in-car spotter. He gives me all kinds of good information, and especially this road course is really hard and technical to drive. I don't have to look around at my other stuff, so big shout out to him.
Well, that will be your 3rd place finisher, the number 8 machine of Brian McCann. Congratulations on 3rd, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
As we go from
literally to that last run.
Thank you. I don't think there's anything I need to look at on the replay.
to get a time in for qualifying, so had to start all the way back in 21st.
I did all my pits good. There was one time when I almost hit a lap car, but
Run Cedric, congratulations.
I don't know what lap that was.
Over the day, up 16 positions. Man, how was your day going?
So we'll just call it there.
How's